Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. On Days of Our Lives today, Stephanie and Everett reminisce, Ava lies for Chad, Wendy surprises Trip, and Nicole assigns blame. Stefan and Gabby have a phone conversation late at night in the DeMira mansion. He promises to see her as soon as possible so they may have a crucial conversation. Before he can tell Gabby he loves her, he gets cut off. He downs a drink, brooding. Maggie visits Holly in the hospital while Nicole tends to the still comatose teenager. Maggie pulls out a blanket that she began to knit following Victor's passing. She tells Nicole that Holly will make it through this, but she is crying. Nicole will be even more appreciative when she does, since she is aware of how fleeting life is. The people they love must always be their priority, and they must never take them for granted. The ladies give each other hugs. The reporter discusses his concerns about EJ and Stefan being drug traffickers with Chad after he discovers the latter working late at the Spectator office. Stefan doesn't need the money, and Chad believes that EJ is no longer interested in it. Everett makes the point that not everyone is driven by money. Chad finds it difficult to accept that his brothers are drug dealers. Chad looks down at Everett, who is seated at his newsroom desk with his hands in his pockets. Everett raises his head sardonically. Stephanie arrives with takeout for the PR meeting she and Everett are attending. If Stephanie felt uncomfortable, Everett apologizes after Chad departs. She is adamant that she and Chad have moved on after speaking their truths. But when Everett turns to bring them paper plates, her self-assured smile disappears. When Ava returns home, Trip is gloomy and holding Wendy's beloved Trip scarf. Son, Ava tells him not to be so gloomy. When he travels to Hong Kong, he can deliver it to her. Trip says he's staying put so he can be by her side. Trip says that nothing and no one will stop him from making sure Ava is secure in the face of her protests. Wendy charges the door. Wendy tells Trip that she realized she couldn't go without him at the gate, and Trip runs to embrace her. Ava moves out as Trip gives Wendy a passionate kiss. Wendy firmly informs Trip that she belongs there with him when he asks whether she's sure she's staying. Trip and Wendy stand facing each other, arms around each other. Ava scowls. Nicole enters Holly's room and asks Maggie, who is an 8A sponsor, if she noticed any indications that Holly was experiencing problems. Maddie didn't, but she does make the point that addicts are adept at concealing their illness. However, it's possible that this was an isolated incident. Maggie inquires as to whether she believes Tate is at fault. While Stefan is sipping alcohol at the chessboard, Ava strolls into the DeMira home since she has nowhere else to go. She worries that Trip and Wendy will stay, and he pours her a drink. Wondering why Ava is there, Chad walks in. Stephanie arranges carryout containers on Everett's desk in the newsroom. They also enjoyed weekly watermelon mojitos that she brought after pickleball. She remembers how passionate he was about his career and all the late nights he spent working. Even though he enjoys his job, Everett laments all the evenings he didn't spend with her. Before they start eating, they exchange a tender glance. Takeout boxes are on Everett's desk in the newsroom. He and Stephanie clink cups of covered fruit drinks in jest. Wendy senses that Trip is bothered by something at the flat. Trip is happy to have her around, but he also feels bad for her parents. Wendy claims that her parents are surrounded by a full community, in contrast to Ava. She begs him to stop feeling bad. For her, this is the best decision. All Trip wants is for their time together to be easier. Wendy wonders if he was relieved that she was relocating to Hong Kong as tears fill up in her eyes. Maggie is informed by Nicole in the hospital that Tate is not to blame. He's only a young child. She holds herself responsible for her daughter's lack of attention. Paulina stops by with a fake plant to liven up the space because real flowers are not allowed in the intensive care unit. She promises that she is making every effort to control the medications. When she begins to cough, Maggie gets her some water. The women get up to go when a nurse walks in to help Holly with her bath. Maggie and Nickel stand shoulder to shoulder in the hospital lobby, grinning slightly at Paulina. After their meal at The Spectator, Everett admits that reporting on the drug trade in Salem reminds him of his friend, a singer, who overdosed in Seattle. He wanted to concentrate on the incredible woman he was falling in love with, so he kept it a secret from Stephanie at the moment. Stephanie advises that because the narrative is so upsetting, he set it aside until tonight. With her by his side, Everett can manage this. He says he's ready to settle down, and that he doesn't see himself going back to Seattle unless absolutely necessary. Wendy announces that she would stay with Tripp whether he likes it or not when he is unable to provide a convincing reason for his behavior change. He says, Augie likes it, and plants a kiss on her. After they split ways, Wendy contacts her mother to break the bad news. But things don't go as planned. Tripp believes her mother needs to know what it means to be in love. Wendy is apprehensive. As he confides in her, Tripp starts to act cheesy. He declares, I'm more in love with you than ever. Wendy claims that Tripp is the man of her dreams. She is completely devoted to him. In their kitchen, Wendy and Tripp give each other a tender look. Tripp's hand rests on her waist as her arms circle around his neck. Nickel and Maggie head back to Holly's hospital room after the teen takes a bath. They intend to treat Holly to a spa day and high tea at the Salem Inn once she recovers. Nickel hopes to follow through on her commitment to spend more time with her daughter, which she made for the new year. Stefan explains that he and Ava are in the Dimura mansion conducting business as bistro. That doesn't make sense to Chad, who asks angrily whether the Dimuras are in the drug trade. Ava decides it's time to confess their relationship to Stefan and forces him into a long kiss. Chad is indifferent to their involvement. He expresses his hope that Stefan is not a drug user and warns that if he is, everything would fall apart. Stefan furiously asks Ava what the devil that was when Chad leaves. Ava makes the point that they must act like happy betrayers in front of Chad and Harris if they want to avoid going to jail. She asks, Are you interested in survival? He is, of course. So become engaged in this, she replies, enticing him once again. What's Kristen up to these days, and how does a visit bring out Alex's protective side next on Days of Our Lives? According to spoilers for Tuesday, January 9's episode of Days of Our Lives, Konstantin Milionis will look into it and make sure he is related to John Black in the past. It turns out that Konstantin is aware of John's past as the pawn, and will be able to utilize that information to his advantage. Days teasers indicate that although there will be some awkward moments in the pub, Konstantin will make it plain that he has no plans to leave Salem. John and Steve Johnson will come to the realization that eliminating this threat to Maggie Kyriakis won't be so simple as Konstantin gives them an update on how he's gained the upper hand. Marlena will eventually heighten the uneasy tension and maybe start to suspect something is wrong with Konstantin, John, and Steve. On Tuesday's DOL episode, Marlena will also welcome Kristen DeMere into the townhouse and see her explode with rage. Days teasers claim that Kristen will be furious with Brady Black for neglecting to pay Rachel Black a visit during their father-daughter time, but Brady will clarify the commotion with Tate Black. When Kristen learns about Tate's incarceration and Holly Jonas' overdose, she will express sorrow to Brady and give him another chance to get close to Rachel. Brady will confide in Kristen that he feels like a bad father, but she will reassure him that he isn't and will hold him while he sobs. Theresa Donovan will be checked on by Eric Brady, according to teasers for other days, and Alex Kyriakis will be worried about. I think Alex is afraid Eric is coming to make fun of Theresa in some way and put the responsibility for Holly's coma on Tate. Eric will offer Theresa his support and let her know he's thinking of her during this trying time, even though Alex will raise his guard. Theresa won't be held accountable for anything that has happened by Eric, and it doesn't seem like he will hold Tate accountable either. She will become enraged about Nicole DeMira's potential loss of her lone remaining child, over with Sloane Peterson Brady. When Nicole might lose Holly, Sloane won't be so certain she can hold onto the truth about Jude Brady. Sloane will be pressured by Melinda Trask to calm down and keep quiet, especially because there's still a chance Holly will make a full recovery. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that Sloane's guilt will have a significant negative impact on her. But Melinda will stop at nothing to conceal Jude's biological father. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't miss any updates.